Hello and welcome everyone to the Core Value Heart Training Session Number 1, Finance and Revenue Cycle Staff Development. I am Cindy Assen. I am going to be the one in the middle of the picture you're looking at. I have been with Gunderson, going on 17 years now, and I've worked in accounting and finance.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Hackbart. I have been at Gunderson Health System for 17 years as well. The majority of the time in revenue cycle. I work in patient access.
And I'm Paula Cruz. I'm wearing gray in the picture. I've been at Gunderson for about 15 years, always in revenue cycle. For about the last year, I've been part of the Charge Master team.
Fantastic. Let's continue. As we continue our heart training, we should always keep in mind the Gunderson Health System vision statement that we will enhance the health and well-being of our communities while enriching every life we touch, including patients, families, staff, and heart will enhance our own life as well. Here is what we will be covering today. Review of heart journey. Our key terminology is resistance, a culture defined, design versus default behaviors, responses, alignment, what is it and why is it important? We will also cover our commitment statement. I will work with urgency, passion, and relentless effort to execute our vision with the goal to build and sustain a healthy culture and exhibit behaviors that align with heart and the employee compact. Notice the words in blue: urgency, passion, relentless effort. Great words. The foundation of a culture begins with a set of common goals or core values. Our core values are healthy dialogue, everyone's voice matters, accountability, resilience, and trust. During each training, we will focus on each of these core values. Now, it's human nature to want to know why and what we are training for. In your heart binder, you will find a copy of the Employee Compact as well as an Employee Compact to Heart Core Values document, and we share that heart complements enrich every life and fostering healthy relationships, aligns with the Employee Compact, gives direction to our behavior in the finance and revenue cycle division. Throughout the trainings, we will continually reference and review how the heart core values align with the behaviors in the Employee Compact. The Employee Compact provides us a solid foundation in this culture. Remember, heart isn't just about saying it and knowing the definitions, it's about knowing and living the behaviors. Here's a quote I want to read to you. The best and most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen nor touched, but are felt in the heart. This is from Helen Keller. And let's face it, we spend a large amount of time at work. What happens at work can have a large effect on our entire life, your entire life. Heart is moving us toward better work experiences and better life experiences. How can we ensure success? We are not just telling you. This is the culture we are working in every day. These trainings are providing you with the skill and tools to make it happen. It will be up to you in how you use them. You are in charge of your domain. We are asking you to believe in heart and its vision. Have an open mind to a different perspective. Don't have blinders on, and remember, you are in charge of your domain and will provide you the skills and tools to achieve positive outcomes. Next, I am going to turn it over to Paula.
Today you're going to hear the term culture a lot. That's exactly what we will be discussing in the next part of today's session. What exactly is culture? And what do we mean by culture? Generally, we think of culture as our heritage, but we also have a culture at work. Culture is the underlying values, beliefs, and principles that serve as a foundation for an organization, as well as the practices and behaviors that exemplify and reinforce those basic principles. As Gunderson employees in the Finance and Revenue Cycle Division, the Employee Compact, Enrich Every Life, and Heart are all part of our culture. They are the values, beliefs, principles, practices, and behaviors that define our culture. We want to make sure that we're putting good, positive energy into our culture. Otherwise, it's really easy to slip into a culture by default. And here's what happens in a culture by default. Leadership and staff are not in alignment. Trust is weak. Communication and teamwork are poor. Leadership and staff are hesitant to commit. Problems are not solved, and accountability is inconsistent. Those last two should be reversed, shouldn't they? Because really at the base of all of this, if we're living and working in a culture by default, ultimately our problems are not solved or resolved. Kirsten, can you think of an example of a culture by default, either here at work or at home?
Sure, Paula. Say, I don't know, your child breaks curfew. What is your response? Do you let it slide again and again and again? Then default to grounded for 3 weeks? I mean, what does this solve?
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Now let's look at a culture by design instead. Heart is a culture by design. Included in your binder is a handout with a side-by-side comparison of default and design behaviors. A culture by design takes work and discipline. That's good, positive energy that creates a culture by design. And again, we can point out the foundation here as intentional behavior focused in the same direction, leadership and staff committed to core beliefs, trust is strong, communication is clear, execution is exceptional, and did you notice the one I saved for last? Just the opposite of a culture by default, in a culture by design, problems are solved. Cindy, can you give us an example of a culture by design, either at work or at home?
Oh, Paula, I sure can. You send an email, there's no response. You send another email in 2 weeks, and then again in 4 weeks, and maybe 6 weeks. What is a better response? One intentional, maybe? Thought and by design? How about a phone call, a quick face-to-face meeting, scheduled impromptu, or a team huddle?
Perfect. Again, another excellent example. A key component in achieving a culture by design is alignment, intentional behavior, always focused in the same direction. The definition of alignment is a state of agreement or cooperation among persons or a group with a common cause or a common viewpoint. A lot of what you're hearing now and will continue to hear as we go through the heart training is very basic. Sometimes it's things that we learned in kindergarten or should have learned in kindergarten, and sometimes we just need to be reminded. Here's a short clip from Finding Nemo that shows us the importance of being in alignment.
Dory! Dory! No! Dory!
Dad, I know what to do!
Nemo! No!
We have to tell all the fish to swim down together!
Get out of there
I
now!
know this will work!
No, I am not going to lose you again!
Dad, there's no time! It's the only way we can save Dory! I can do this!
You're right. I know you can.
Lucky Finn!
Now go! Hurry!
Tell all the fish to swim down!
Well, you heard my son? Come on!
Dory, you have to tell everybody to
Swim down together! You understand what I'm saying to you? Swim down!
Everybody swim down! Come on, you have to swim down! Swim down, okay?
Down! Swim down! Swim down! Swim down! great, son!
That's my dad.
Come on, let's get to the bottom! Keep swimming!
Keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
Almost there! Keep swimming!
Our culture is all of revenue cycle and finance working together in alignment. You are one person among 600. Together, working in alignment, we can do great things. But remember, you are only in control of your own behavior and your own actions. So keep in mind that even though we only control our own behaviors and actions, it's also our responsibility to provide feedback to those who are not in alignment. You can never kind of believe in heart. To ensure success, everyone needs to have an open mind, be open to investing in themselves and in this journey. Who hasn't had an experience where, upon reflection, you think, man, I just did not handle that very well? I'm sure that Kirsten and Cindy would agree we have all been in situations like that. But heart gives us the skills and tools to be more disciplined in our reactions and responses, our culture by design, instead of being impulsive and reactionary or living and working in a culture by default. Something of this magnitude requires deeper levels of belief, trust, commitment, and recommitment, discipline, teamwork, communication, and execution. Heart values are not learned in a sprint. It's a marathon. We will all travel this path at a different pace, and everyone's journey will look a little bit different. And you know what? That's okay. Kirsten is going to talk to us about some key terminology today, and she will start with resistance.
As a division, when we started this journey, it was new. It was a change, and there was some resistance. It's natural to feel resistance to change. It's a normal human reaction. The definition of resistance is being opposed to something, wanting to prevent something from happening, a refusal to accept something new or different. We realize change is hard and change is frustrating, but change is here. Change is happening. Change can also be rewarding. Learn more about resistance and resistance factors is one of the skills that will help you be successful in this journey. There are two types of resistance. Internal resistance is what stops us from doing what we know needs to be done. For example, or maybe you're feeling, a little worried or anxious about learning heart and its culture. External resistance is from those that we encounter outside of ourselves. They can influence us one way or another. For example, maybe you had a teammate say, heart training takes up so much of my time, and this in turn causing you to be, even more worried. Factors that lead to resistance. These are resistance factors that we will be addressing in the coming months. Avoidance, ego, fear, distraction, and perfectionism. As we mentioned earlier, resistance to change is actually a pretty normal human behavior. So what do we do about it? We acknowledge it. Productive discomfort is something we need to work through in order for us to learn and grow. We will continue to touch on resistance during every training session, so more to come. One thing that we do want to emphasize is that everyone is at a different place in the journey. No matter where you are, the important thing is that you have an open mind and we all believe in the culture. Now let's watch a short video, and while watching, be thinking about what is being said and how it relates back to our culture.
I think we all need a pep talk. The world needs you to stop being boring. Yeah, you. Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're gooder than that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, are we on the same team? I mean, really, right? I'm on your team, be on my team. This is life, people. You got air coming through your nose. You got heartbeat. That means it's time to do something. A poem. Two roads diverged in the woods, and I took the road less traveled. It hurt, man! Really bad. Rocks, thorns, and glass. My pants broke. Wah! Not cool, Robert Frost. But what if there really were two paths? I want to be the one that leads to awesome. It's like that dude Journey said, don't stop believing, unless you dream stupid. Then you should get a better dream. I think that's how it goes. Get a better dream and keep going. Keep going, and keep going. What if Michael Jordan have quit? Well, he did quit. No, he retired. Yeah, he retired. But before that, in high school, what if he quit when he didn't make the team? He would have never made Space Jam. And I love Space Jam. What will be your Space Jam? What will you create will make the world awesome? Nothing if you keep sitting there. That's why I'm talking to you today. This is your time. This is my time. It's our time. We can make every day better for each other. If we're all on the same team, let's start acting like it. We got work to do. We can cry about it, or we can dance about it. We were made to be awesome. Let's get out there. I don't know everything. I'm just a kid. But I do know this. Because everybody's doing to give the world a reason to dance. So get to it. You've just been pep talked. Create something that will make the world awesome. Play ball.
Cindy or Paula, what were your key takeaways from the video?
The one thing I liked was you've just been pep talked. Notice that positive energy, just all that positivity, hence pep talked.
I love being on the road to awesome, and I want all of us to be on the road to awesome together.
Believing is achieving. We will be the best division within Gunderson Health System because we will train ourselves to be the best. We will not give in to our own impulsive behaviors because we train our minds to respond intentionally to any event. We are a resilient group because we are mentally tough and train ourselves to be disciplined. Heart will be sustained and we will not compromise our values or beliefs for anyone. Remember, your leaders have been through this journey and we know that this will benefit you both in your work life as well as your home life. So as we wrap up this session, some of the key takeaways would include that, well, we reviewed and hopefully you have a better understanding of the journey you are embarking on. We introduced the concept of a culture by default, impulsive and reactionary, versus a culture by design, intentional and thought out. We've shared the importance of alignment. And we've discussed the differences between internal and external resistance factors and provided a brief overview of the 5 resistant factors that will be discussed at upcoming sessions. As we continue to wrap up this session, I'd like you to think about the following. What are 2 things you look forward to or are hoping to learn throughout these trainings? What is one thing you are really worried about? You probably saw this slide for the first time during the Heart Introduction presentation. This is a slide that Dr. Rathgaber uses at all of his leadership presentations. The leadership team voted it was a sunrise, a dawning of a new day. Now, this is not a paved path, and we don't know where it's going. But what we do know is that if we all travel it together, the journey is easier. The path smoothens out. As KID President says, this is the road to awesome. Learning the Heart core values is not a sprint, but a marathon. When we are all learning together and working together, we are better.
Please always remember that if you have any additional questions about today's materials, you should connect with your supervisor.
Thank you for your attention today. We are truly looking forward to sharing Heart with you.